I'm Jay Horton. I make movies that make money. This is how. Is crowdfunding still a viable option for filmmakers in 2022? Well, I played a part in 3 successful crowdfunding campaigns over the last few years. One raised a little over $20,000, one raised a little over $16,000, and the last one, which was a marketing campaign, made its goal of $5,000 in just 10 days. And I am far from a crowdfunding expert. You know, there's filmmakers out there like the Mahal brothers out of Las Vegas that have raised over $2 million on Indiegogo in the last few years, often raising over $100,000 per project. So I'd say, yeah, crowdfunding is definitely still viable, but it's certainly not easy and it's not for everyone. But the real question for me is it worth it? And when you're talking about campaigns that are like $20,000 or under, is the amount of work you need to put into a successful campaign worth it? Is it worth 2 or 3 months of prep? Is it worth the 30 to 60 days and then the delivery of all of the perks? Well, for me, I'm gonna usually say no. That said, the post campaign that earned $5,000, it was definitely an exception. Truth is, regardless of your intended budget, the amount of time and effort you need to put into a successful crowdfunding campaign is pretty much the same. And this is where I think a lot of filmmakers get tripped up. They just think about the result, not the work that it takes to get to that result. For example, the $16,000 campaign that I helped run that I mentioned earlier, while it's true that that movie probably would have never been made without the campaign, it was a lot of work. We spent almost 6 months on the campaign. Like there was 2 to 3 months like prep leading up to it. The campaign itself ran for 60 days, and then there was another month delivering all the perks. And at $16,000, I mean, it was bringing in less than $5,000 a month for every month of work. And that's with a team of 4 people working basically full time. And if you're counting our time as money out, the labor far outweighed the money earned. Now, if you're talking a few $100 grand in the same time period, that's probably a different story. But let's see what some other filmmakers have to say. It depends on many factors. One of them is how well can you convince people to invest in you? Solid train of thought. Audience precedes money. The rules may apply the same for getting money from a producer as they do for getting it from a crowd source, i.e. many producers. If you have no audience, you will not get money. There it is, very true. Every successful campaign that I've ever been a part of had folk working on it that had some strong audience. I think many filmmakers who haven't done crowdfunding think that there's a lot more of a discoverability factor than there really is.
Not really. Most of the success in crowdfunding, in my opinion, comes from people who probably don't need the funds anyhow.
Say what? No, I get what they're saying here, but honestly, this is just a really self-defeating attitude. Sure, people with money will always have an advantage, but don't use that as an excuse not to try. No! Why would I put money into a film that may or may not even get made on a promise of a DVD when I can watch thousands of films on Netflix? Crowdfunding filmmakers aren't offering a unique product and offer no guarantees the product will ever even be produced. Wow, well, that's a real me first attitude. You know, I don't think that this person really truly understands what crowdfunding is supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be just fundraising. It's about supporting artists in a really tough business. It's about community building. And yeah, sure, there are bad examples out there of people using crowdfunding in very selfish ways, but that's not what it has to be. And it's certainly not what it always is. The point is to give creatives the opportunity to realize dreams. This is a tough biz to break into worldwide. And the crowdfunding might just deliver the next great storyteller. Right? It works, but it's more effort to keep the campaign going than most people realize. Too many see it as a setup once and wait for the free money to roll in. Solution. Church,
I make movies with a team of musicians, pro wrestlers, and a couple of people that have a ghost hunting television show. We have a built-in following, and our first crowdfunding got about $6,100. We were lucky to get that much. However, it seems like keeping the crowdfunding going is not very easy.
Yeah, from what I've seen, the amounts that most people raise is directly proportional to the size of their current audience. So, I guess my overall opinion is, yeah, crowdfunding is still viable, but you have to have the social media reach to do it or be willing to put in the work to get there. And you have to seriously ask yourself, is the work worth the amount you're trying to raise? And there's a fallacy out there where some filmmakers think that they'll create the crowdfunder and strangers will just come out of the woods and chip in. Let me tell you something, they won't. I did interview a filmmaker a few months ago who successfully raised over $60,000 for his first film. And when he started, he didn't have an incredibly strong social media following. You can check that out here. But whatever you do, keep making movies.